Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
This is Mohammed for IFLTV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm joined by Spencer Fearon, the man who seems to be getting all the exclusive interviews these days with his man Tunde on The Fight Is Right.
Yeah, something like that. What you saying?
No, just
long time no speak, Umar. How you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm good, thanks, Spence. I've seen a couple of your stuff, your videos with like Usyk Senior. You're getting some exclusive bits, some good stuff to watch.
Yeah, fortunate. You know that black book. It's all good, man. It's a blessing.
My favourite one though was a while back, but Fraser Clark and David Adelaide. That was just.
Oh mate, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I got a lot of time for both men. You know, Fraser and David. David's a cool guy. Fraser's a really cool guy. So yeah, it's like it's a blessing because these guys they're like your mates. So yeah, it's a very, very lovely blessing that we can spread it. So people who are on our channel, on the Stamina for Sale channel, they know like when they're getting these things, they're getting like mates talking to mates. And it's kind of a little bit different. So I'm grateful for that. Like me and Tundi go back and forth a lot because we're brothers. So it's all good.
We had the likes of David Adelaide, Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clark, obviously the next crop of British heavyweights, the rising stars. But we've got two rivals going at it again with Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. This feels like a real throwback fight. Feels like we've gone back to 2015. It's just pure rivalry, this one. Are you surprised, though, Anthony's taken it, Spencer, given the fact that he's got, a 60, 70, 80 million US dollar payday in front of him?
No, because, all right, the 80 mil and all the rest of it, money's insignificant when pride's at stake. You know what I mean? I said yesterday on the show, me and Johnny Nelson, and Johnny was saying, like, Anthony's not doing this for the prize. And I said, well, then he's doing it for the pride. So therefore, he's a pride fighter instead of a prize fighter on this one because it's not just for bragging rights. It's for Anthony Joshua to be the champion of himself and also for Dillian Whyte to be the champion of Anthony Joshua. And this what makes this fight very, very intriguing because they don't like each other. And let's just be real about the whole thing, right? Eddie Hearn is a promoter and he's very, very good at promoting. Eddie Hearn desperately needed a fight like this because it will capture the imagination, right? You know, when tickets go out for sale tomorrow, it's going to be sold out. They're going to be gone within seconds. Let's just be real, right? They're going to be gone, and then there's going to be astronomical prices on top of those tickets. Try and get your tickets if you haven't got them. It's going to go quickly because what is O2 hold, 20,000 or whatever? They're going to go in a heartbeat, right? But Eddie Hearn actually needed a fight of this magnitude, seeing as like he recently just lost Canelo to PBC. You need something. And also, Eddie Hearn's been getting a lot of stick because there's people thinking that he's neglected the British public, the British boxing public, which I can see what he's trying to build. So I haven't got nothing against Eddie Hearn's ambition. So him reverting back and saying, I'm going to do this fight here. I'm going to talk to the guys and let's see things. I spoke to Dylan on Sunday and Dylan said, I ain't got nothing to say, but I've signed Spence. So I'm waiting for them to come back. And then for Anthony Joshua to humble himself and say, well, forget the rematch clause because I just want this fight. So let's just be realistic. People who think that Dylan is old and jaded and past peak, right? People who think that Anthony Joshua is not the fighter of yesteryear. That's very true. But let's go back to 1976. And it was George Foreman versus Ron Lau. Both were not heavyweight champion of the world. One was a former challenger, one was a former champion. But they ended up meeting in the middle. And it's one of the greatest fights that you have ever seen. Please, you young kids, go and watch that fight. And I think this fight could possibly replicate this simply because the two guys do not like each other, simply because when you know how much is at stake in this fight for these people or these two combatants emotionally, it drags out something where they have to go deep down into the cauldrons, right? I was speaking to one of my friends earlier today. He's a financial analyst. It's really weird that everybody's jumping at him. One of my guys, Alex BCP, and Alex was like, this fight is default settings. I want you to realize this, Spence, because once they get hit, forget about all the work that you're doing with the great Derek James. Should be given all the credit in the world, right? And also all the work that Dillian Whyte is doing with the great Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt doesn't get the dues that he should be getting. Buddy McGirt's a fantastic trainer and also was a superb boxer. Oh my word, he's incredible. You know what I mean? Anyone will learn how to fight off the front foot, could lean over, fight off for the front foot. Just watch how he would hook off with his jab, Buddy McGirt. Superb fighter, right? All of those guys, that's going to go out the window. When it comes to like, right, it's time to go, this is default settings. You're going to get hit and you're going to revert back too tight. So it's who wants it more is going to come out victorious.
Okay. Just to go back to the original point now, I mean, for us fans, it's brilliant because we don't want someone like Anthony Joshua, who's a big driver for the sport, sitting out and waiting and not being active. So from a fan point of view, a sporting point of view, it's fantastic we get this fight in August. But it's been made clear that, you know, if he loses this fight, Anthony, that offer that they've got for the Wilder fight, which is reportedly for around $60 to $80 million in Saudi Arabia, is off the table if he loses his fight to Dillian Whyte. So isn't it going to be an absolute calamity for everyone involved? I'm talking about Eddie, 258, Anthony, if they do lose this fight. I mean, it's going to be the worst business decision of all time, surely.
No, it isn't, because let's just be real. It's reported that Anthony Joshua has amassed something like 200 million from professional boxing. All right? He's not going to be able to spend that money because he's not gregarious in spending. He doesn't do anything crazy. He's most probably, Anthony Joshua's most probably still got his lunch money from primary school, right? He's one of those people. So that's number one. So him saying like, oh, well, the 80 mils off of the table or this is off of the table, then that must prove to you something that this man actually really wants to fight. And not only that, he's also trying to get himself mentally into the best possible mindset to say that he's going up against Wilder if he was to be victorious against Dillian Whyte, right? He's only had one fight, which was a very lackluster performance, right, against Franklin. So he's trying to say, well, I want something a bit better to make myself feel there. I can go in there with Wilder, because everyone's talking like, well, Wilder, you know, Wilder will knock out. Let's be real, Wilder will knock out Anthony Joshua. So maybe he's using this fight as a confidence builder to say, like, I'm ready to go in there with the likes of Deontay Wilder, because obviously there's got to be personal demons there after coming out and being unsuccessful 2 times against Usyk. He must be thinking to himself, well, then what do I have to do now? And I think this is the best thing that he has done to take this fight. And equally for Dillian Whyte, this is the best thing. Because I have no doubt in my mind, if Dillian Whyte had accepted the 5 million with all the ludicrous clauses that were put down for him to go and fight Anthony Joshua, when Anthony Joshua got beat by Andy Ruiz, I believe that Dillian Whyte would have been victorious on that night. I really do, right? So now said and done, let's forget all the talking. Let's go and have this fight, and it's going to be an excellent fight. And the reason why it's going to be because the streets are talking about it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking, like the hood's talking about this fight. So this is for the heavyweight championship of the hood. That's what it's for. Maybe
Eddie should use that line to promote it. It's a good line, that.
Well, he listens to lots of things that I say, so it wouldn't surprise me if he uses that one. Yeah, I mean, I'm even going to charge you for that one because I'm really happy for this fight. I'm very, very happy for this fight.
Sorry, Spence, just cut there. We got you back. Do you think emotion could take over in this fight for either man?
Definitely, that's what's going to happen. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened at the end of the round one when they first fought, even though it was 8 years ago. Yeah, of course it will. Because what I realized is like, it's weird, like this thing that when it's a communal thing, right? When it's a communal thing, there's a lot of spite there. There was a lot of spite that's being brought up there, and especially like Dylan on many occasions will say that Anthony Joshua's fake. Yeah. You know, you're not real. You're fake. You're plastic. So off of those things, I think Anthony Joshua has felt aggrieved by those comments, right? He may not outwardly come out because he had this polished image, but now we're seeing a kind of change in Anthony Joshua. We're kind of seeing a little change. It's kind of like seeing little things like recently you see him with like Nines and the rest of his crew. We're seeing little things where you see like, now it's like, I mean, I'm returning back to being need to play a person. I don't need to do that no more. I'm going to be myself. And I think that's what's great. But here's the thing is, with Dylan Whyte has always been himself. Always. You know what I mean? He's always been himself. And like I said, this what makes this fight exciting, because when two men are at this stage of their careers, it takes that kind of rivalry. And I've seen it right throughout history. I could name so many fights like this, right? You go back to recently on The Fight Is Right, we had Tommy Hearns on The Fight Is Right. I remember June 12th, 1989, Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, both were seen as two old men past peak. They put, and even though he was given a draw, I believe Tommy Hearns won that fight, they gave one of the best fights I've ever seen. But they were meant to be past peak. So, you know what I mean? I'm never reading into that. I'm so looking forward to this fight. I think it's an excellent fight. And worth every penny on pay-per-view. I'll tell you that now for nothing. Worth every penny, because it will be, I think the first one was called Maximum Violence, right?
I can't remember the tag for
it. Yeah, right. It was something like that. But this will be Maximum Violence times 2, because they will come to you have to. It's going to be a fight.
A lot of people have complained about it being £26.99, Spencer.
I'm not going to be one of them. Sorry, I'm not. No, seriously. Listen, usually I give DAZN and Eddie and a lot of stick. You know me. I just like to wish, and you always, Spencer said, right? I'm saying everything that everyone else said, but love people like, especially you, Umar, like, what Spencer said. Yeah, because you know I don't care, innit? You know, I know I'm that guy. What are you going to do? What's Eddie going to do? Right? So, no. How could we complain about this? Because I actually know what I'm going to receive in this fight here. I know what I'm going to get, right? I'm not going to get no trickery. There isn't going to be no scientific genius from both guys. There will be in spurts, but bottom line, it is going to be what it is. It's going to be grotesque violence. It's going to be artful butchery. It's going to be the brilliance. It's going to be the brilliance of thuggery come in August. If that's what it's going to be. I know it is.
Well, that's August 12th, a couple of weeks on from that. In Poland, we've got Alexander Usyk defending his 3 belts against our very own Daniel Dubois. Again, that's on pay-per-view on TNT Sports Box Office, the old BT Sport. So that's 2 pay-per-views we're getting in the space of 1 month, Spencer. Do you believe that's a pay-per-view fight, Usyk Dubois?
It's a pay-per-view fight because it is on pay-per-view, right? So it's a pay-per-view fight, and all credit should be given to Usyk because he's bloody superb. But he's not a pay-per-view draw in star, right? He's not. What he is, he's for the purists. You're a purist, so you have to respect everything that the guy's done. The guy's a genius in the things that he does. Technically, how he carries himself as a professional as well, he's absolutely wonderful. But it would not surprise me, yeah? It wouldn't surprise me. Because I'm looking at Usyk, and I know the guys who have given him trouble. Gassiev gave him trouble, right?
No, Gassiev didn't give Usyk trouble. Bradis did.
Bradis, sorry, my apologies. Bradis gave him trouble. What was the style that Bradis took to give him trouble? It wasn't to back off and try to box with the guy. It's just stick it on him. What was the style that Michael Hunter gave to Usyk that gave him trouble? What was the style? To stick it on him, right? What was the style that Derek Chisora gave Usyk trouble with? It was to stick it on him. Don't overthink. As soon as you start thinking with this guy, he's won, right? Things have to be instinctive when you're fighting somebody like Usyk. And it's easier said than done from where I am, because look at the size. Anthony Joshua was a physically bigger man than him, and he bossed Anthony Joshua certain times beautifully in rounds, right? But I'm saying this now. I think for Don Charles, who's working with Daniel Dubois, Daniel Dubois has limitations, right? If Daniel Dubois fights within himself and goes his best to stick it on Usyk, you never know what could happen. I'm going to be real. I don't want to sound like Frank Warren, but I'm going to be real with you. Don't be surprised. Just because it's boxing, anything can happen. But obviously, you got to go for Usyk to win the fight. But I'm saying anything can happen.
That's funny you mentioned that, actually. What do you think of this? Hang on.
Daniel Dubois is going to absolutely screw this up for all of them. He's going to knock him the fuck out. I'm telling you. All right, I'll see you in.
What do you think of that?
Listen, Frank Warren has to back his fighter. That's number one. And he's got to back his fighter. So I can't knock Frank Warren for saying what he's saying, because I'd be worried if Frank Warren said, well, by the way, we're going to give him the best shot. He's going to go out there and try his best, but he's not going to win. He's not going to say that. Then if he is, then Daniel Dubois is not being signed to him. You're meant to believe in your fighter. And that's what he's in, believe in his fighter.
Well, you're a historian, Spence, as we know. Where would that rank, if Daniel does pull this off in Poland, where would that rank in terms of greatest British wins on foreign soil? It'd be right up there, surely.
It's got to be definitely up there. We'd have to say, we'd have to say 1951, Randolph Turpin when he defeated Sugar Ray Robinson. I would say that was the biggest upset ever. Then if we go to September of 1986, Lloyd Hannigan, when he defeated Donald Curry, that's definitely up there as well. It'll rank up. It'll be up there. It'll be up very high. It would be. John H. Tracy when he beat Napoles, was that 76 or 75? 76. Yeah, it was a big, but Napoles at the tail end of his career. But regardless, John H. Tracy was not meant to do that to Jose Napoles. So it'd be very, very, it'd be up there. It'd be maybe like a Ricky Hatton Costa Zoo, one of those kind of ones. But it'd be high. It would be high up there. It would be high. But this is heavyweight boxing. And I'm trying to say to you, if Daniel Dubois has the mindset to just listen, let me just stick it on you and let's see what's going on. We never know what could happen. But Anthony Joshua stick it on Usyk, but he was still doing it, but behind the well-timed jab. And when he did have success, is when he kind of threw caution to the wind. Yeah, but it'd be up there. It would definitely be up there. But also I'm saying, like, people should be behind. We should be behind Daniel Dubois, hard behind him, because he didn't have to take this challenge. He could sit down and wait. Yeah, I mean, he's got a WBA regular championship. He could just sit down and wait. He said, well, I'm going to go take it. And fair play to him. He's going to take it. He's going to step forward. So because he stepped forward, must salute the young man.
Definitely. Well, I know, just to cap this off, I plugged your channel at the start, but as we close off, do you want to plug your channel, Spencer?
Yeah, you know what? You've done it already. You know what I mean? Everyone knows, tune into The Fight Is Right. Stamina for Sale, myself, Babatunde Ajayi. And every week we get legends of the sport. I mean, every week we get that. So I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? But I've got mad contacts, so I mean, I'm grateful.
Do you reckon we could get one with Lennox Lewis?
Yeah, of course you could. We've done one already, didn't we? We done one in the barbershop.
That was a little clip, but like on your channel, like a proper interview, that would be good. See Lennox on there.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? You know the way these things. Because I speak to Lennox Lewis nearly every day. Like we speak boxing nearly every bloody day. So, but yeah, and he always jumps on the channel as well. But it's like to grab him, to pinpoint him for that time, he's so sporadic, it's unreal. But he's been on the channel quite a few times. But since the channel's like of this year, especially over the last 6 months, is kind of really shot where everyone's really taken onto the channel. So yeah, I must probably grab Lennox on Sunday now. Now that you've mentioned it, I most probably, you know, the nicest thing is for like to boost the Lennox Lewis League of Champions, his foundation that he's doing. It'd be nice to get him and his wife on, because his wife Violet as well. They're doing fantastic work for kids all over in the Americas, in Canada, and in the Caribbean. They're doing some great work with kids, and they get taught boxing, but they also get an educational curriculum as well they've got running. So yeah, that'd be nice. But the real people that I want to plug, I do want to plug the Pentecostal Credit Union, which is helping finance so many good causes. I want to send a massive shout out to the Charles Gordon Trust Foundation and their award ceremony they're doing in September, because we're up for an award as well. There's so many people up for awards that day. It's going to be a fantastic thing. And I've got to big up Mr. Dexter Sims of FinTech, who's doing great work. I think he's just done a deal with Capcom, so I've got to big up that brother as well. But apart from that, I ain't got nothing more to say. Umar, you just keep on doing what you're doing. It's good to see how you've grown and matured, because I'm speaking to you now. It's like I'm speaking to a big man now. I remember when you was a little kid running around with a camera when you first started in this game, and now look at you. You've even got a beard and everything. Look at this guy.
I don't know about a big man, but yeah, Spencer, appreciate your time, and I look forward to that interview with Lennox Lewis one day, hopefully.
Now, you know what? I might get him on Sunday now. Let you mention I might get him this Sunday.
It'll be interesting to hear his thoughts on the current heavyweight scene, to be honest. It would be.
Yeah, you know what? It would be interesting, but you know what I mean, I've got a legend this Sunday as well. I'm not saying Lennox ain't a legend, but I've got a legend this Sunday. You know what I mean? I've got one of the greatest light heavyweights ever to do it. So yeah, we'll see.
We look forward to that. Thank you, Spencer. Take care.
Peace, two fingers. Big up, my bro.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.